Okay. People see this slide okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Great. All right. Good. Well, let's just start with the bit of the background of Concrete Rose. I guess presently we're kind of doing three things within supported lodgings, a bit of mentoring, and we're kind of also investigating other um, semi-independent accommodation options just because we always have a waiting list for our supported lodgings places. But yeah, the most you all know where our name comes from, but that's definitely the most common question. Where does your name come from? It does come from a poem by Tupac. But at our heart, we're an organisation with a Christian ethos, and I guess what we want to try and do is create the opportunity for people in the community to make a meaningful difference to the lives of young people in Cambridge and beyond. That's what we're trying to do. That's where both our supported lodgings and mentoring schemes stem from. Um, I'm quite old and therefore been doing youth work for quite a long time in and around Cambridge, 22 years. Well, yeah, nearly 23 now, since graduating. Um, and we were actually looking to respond to a specific need that I saw in that time, which was young people leaving difficult home situations and moving to larger hostel type environments, which weren't always that positive. Uh, yeah, not that those hostels don't provide a service at times when young people are in desperate need, but sometimes they're not the most nurturing place for
Come in
a
here.
young person to be. Oh, hello.
Sorry,
That's all right.
the
Have I
dog's
got
misbehaving. Sorry.
have I got to come in there? Um, and we're also an Ofsted registered provider, so that just gives you a bit of context into who we are. Ofsted have recently come into our sector, and we've been through the approvals process, so that gives us a bit of credibility. Just in terms of some of the need that we are responding to, um, there's some kind of shocking stats out there, actually. You know, care leavers, we know that one in three care leavers will be homeless within 2 years of leaving care, which for me is a shocking statistic. We know that they're 5 times more likely to suffer a mental health crisis and a lot more likely to commit suicide. And just locally, Cambridgeshire is the most unequal city still in the UK. I'm sure you're all aware of that. It used to be London, but now it is Cambridge. We still know that 28% of care leavers live in unsuitable accommodation, and we're seeing an upturn in youth homelessness across the region. In fact, the biggest upturn across the UK has been in the east of England. So that's disappointing and something we're trying to respond to. So just to give you an idea as to what supported lodgings is, here's a picture of one of our young people or a young person that was with us. Ozzy and her host Liz. And this is how a young person described it in a report by Home for Good, which I thought was quite good. It's support where you're lodging. You get independence, but you're underneath their roof, you respect their rules, and you get support and have a bit of a safety net. I think that sums it up quite nicely. And yeah, if you want some more insight from young people, we'll show you a couple of videos later, which will hopefully be helpful. Another Kate, I think you know these people in this photo. Is that true? So...
Yeah. The the older woman is my sister-in-law.
Oh, great. Excellent. Um, so again, this is Shola, who was with us in supported lodging. She's now at university. Amazing. She's doing really well at Southampton. Um, she moved in with a vicar and his wife, Tim and Lucy, in Sawston. And yeah, is doing really well. But in terms of why do people need supported lodgings, or what the backgrounds of some of the young people we work with, that is a question we get quite a lot. So it's generally young people that are still in care, so maybe they're 16 or 17, still under kind of the protection of the local authority, but are ready for a more independent environment, maybe more independent than residential care, maybe a bit more independent than foster care. So they could be in care of 16, 17, or leaving care. So when they get to 18, um, quite a lot of supports tends to drop off. And we get a number of young people who are leaving care. The young person that Dalibor had with him was a care leaver. So you might find out a bit more about that. And we also get a lot of referrals for young people that are currently in abusive home environments. Um, so um, young people probably where there's violence at home or addiction at home or general neglect at home. We get lots of young people in that situation. Young people are at risk of homelessness or are currently homeless. And that might be young people that are sofa surfing. It might be young people that are actually on the street, but often I say it's a hidden homelessness. They're sofa surfing or in a very temporary hostile environment. We've seen an increase in referrals from asylum seeking young people. There's definitely been an upturn in that over the past few years, and we've got lots of young people on our books from various parts of the world. Oh, young people that where there's been bereavement or a tragedy in the family. So maybe they've lost family members. And that was the case for Shola, who you see in the picture, and she's happy with us sharing that story, but she fortunately lost her mum very suddenly and then didn't have any family to turn to. So those are, I guess, the backgrounds or the reasons that some of our young people need a safe place to be. Just one other thing that I thought might be helpful is to look at the difference between supported lodgings and foster care, because often people are considering maybe one or the other, or at least thought of foster care, probably because they haven't heard about supported lodgings because it's not very well known. But I think just firstly to say, look, we really love both of these things, supported lodgings and foster care. If a host wants to start the process with us, we always do explore whether foster care is a better fit, just because we think there's real need in both areas, and they're both amazing things to do to offer support to young people. And we also believe there's not competition between the two, actually. We believe the two can support each other. But it's probably helpful to outline a little bit of the difference, just because in some ways, on the surface, they seem similar, you're offering a home to a young person. So if you start with age, supported lodging is just 16 plus. Legally, it's got to be 16 plus. We run really from about 16. Most of our young people are probably actually in the 16 to 19 category, although you will find our website says up to more like 23. But certainly most of our referrals are 16 to 19. Foster care obviously could be from a baby all the way up to 18. And then you can get staying put post 18. What does it mean for work and hobbies? Well, in supported lodgings, we expect work and hobbies to continue as normal. I mean, I guess there might be little bit of change, but most of our hosts are working full time and hopefully enjoying active social lives. But you'll have to ask Dalibor and Georgina about that. Um, but I think my understanding of foster care, and certainly having been through the foster care process a few years ago, is that there is generally the expectation in foster care that the individual, or if you're a couple, one of the individuals won't be working because additional support, additional care is needed for that young person. So when it comes to things like accessing appointments, in supported lodgings, we would support young people to independently access appointments. I mean, we might go along to the first one they have with someone, but after that, we'd expect them to go along on their own. And we've got youth workers who would support them as well. Whereas in foster care, it is the responsibility of the carers to make sure they're having those regular GP visits, dentist visits, and facilitate the access. Bit similar when it comes to washing and cooking. In supported lodgings, the emphasis is on independence, really, helping young people equip, develop the skills to become independent. So hosts don't tend to do the washing for young people tend to do it. Although often hosts and young people will eat together, so cooking tends to be a bit more shared, but we do ask young people to cook at least once a week. I think Luna cooks at least once a week. Georgina, for you, is that right?
Yeah, she's actually twice
Twice
a
a
week.
week.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So the young person was Georgina is cooking at least a couple of times a week. And with foster care, the general expectation is that you will provide meals. Well, I'm sure, great foster carers also equip their young people to learn those skills as well. And I guess the other thing that's quite different is the financial remuneration. There's more remuneration in foster care because the expectation is that somebody won't be working or working less. So in Cambridgeshire, it's between 300 and 500 pounds per week, and that depends on the age of the young person and the level of need. In supported lodgings, it's more like 150 to 200 pounds per week in terms of what you would be um, expecting from a kind of, and that's a rental remittance that we give to house. And so often these two things are broken down into the difference between support and care. Young people can only, um, young people that need care have to be in a foster care setting, whereas young people that need support, if they're 16 plus, can be in a supported lodgings environment. So that's the general breakdown. Does that kind of make sense? Any particular questions on that? No. I'll move on and we can do questions at the end anyway. Um, so I thought it'd be just good to run through the kind of support that's on offer, both for hosts and young people. We're very much in the mind frame of trying to look after everyone really well, and we hope it's a great experience for everyone, and that and it feels like a really supportive environment. So if you start with our host on the left, we give hosts lots of training and induction. There's 24/7 on-call support, membership of something called Foster Talk, which is a network of foster carers across the UK, but they provide things like some additional insurance cover and some they also provide lifelong legal costs if there was ever to be an allegation, for example, which we hope would never happen. But Foster Talk would cover that, and we sign up all our hosts to be members of Foster Talk. You get weekly check-ins from somebody from our team. We offer clinical supervision every other month, and there's also obviously the financial remittance. And then for young people, the main thing is they get great support from their hosts and a nurturing place to be. But we also give them weekly youth work support. There's optional mentoring, and they have weekly check-ins. They can access therapy. We've got an offer at the moment with BetterHelp, who's an online provider of therapy. So all young people can get access to free therapy, but we don't mandate that. That's got to be the young person's discretion, but it is available. And some financial support along the way. I mean, we help young people where they need to set up benefits, and we help them with some, I guess, bursary things. We've got passports for young people or interview clothes, those kind of things. So a bit of financial support as well. So that's the environment that we look to create. Yeah, just to drill down into financial support, I won't dwell on it because we can take questions on it later. But yeah, generally you'd have to budget between 600 and 800 pounds per month, so about 200 pounds per week, approximately around there. And that's a bit of a rental remittance and a bit of contribution towards food and bills. But yeah, feel free to probably ask host directly about that. And we'll discuss financial circumstances part of the application process to work out to make sure it's going to be sustainable for you. Oh, this is another of our hosts, by the way. This is Sarah with one of our young people who came in as an unaccompanied asylum seeker from Eritrea. I think they're cooking banana bread. There you go. If you wanted to know. Just to run through our application process, it's very rigorous, as you would expect, and it's similar to foster care, but hopefully not too onerous. We do most of the work, I think. But again, you can ask our host about that. So there's an initial inquiry. It says step two is a virtual home visit. We've actually started more recently to do that in person, just because it's nice to pop round. Then there's an application form. We do one or two home visits where we get to know you a little bit more. We have to do a risk assessment of the home, which is step five. We give you plenty of induction and training. And then there's we have an approvals panel who approve all our hosts. We actually had a panel today that approved a couple of hosts, which was great. And then we'd look at pairing. I'd just say when it comes to pairing, that is not the case where we just give you the first young person that's on the top of our waiting list. We really try and work out what would be a good fit for you and the young person, and that tends to be a collaborative process, so you get plenty of say in it. And then obviously step nine, as we've said, there's plenty of ongoing training and support. Just to give you a bit of feedback from some of the young people, these are some of the things they've said. I'll let you read them. I'd have to read them. And you can have this PowerPoint anyway. And if you want to know who's on the right, well, that's Dawn, another host, and Olivia, who was the young person that was with her. And Olivia, again, she's now at university in Southampton as well, actually, same as Shola, so but a few years ahead. Okay, I think that's a good amount of me talking. So let's just watch a couple of videos. You'll hear from some of our young people, and yeah, any problems with sound, just shout and I'll fix it.
Every day I wake up, I always feel incredibly grateful to Georgina because she is so kind-hearted and so sweet to me. Like, you could just say how much she cares, and it warms my heart all the time. So I'm very grateful because I do not know why she's doing that. Like, I don't know. It's just like I try to like think about like, oh my God, am I even deserving for this love and care, and I don't see any reason why I would deserve that. And yeah, she's just a very beautiful human being, and yeah, I'm grateful to have met her and to have got to live with her and the kids. Yeah, it's been an awesome experience, really.
What I'd say to potential hosts is don't be scared. Don't think that every young person like me that's in a bad situation will be a bad person. I'd like to say thank you to my hosts for taking me in, and a big thank you to Concrete Rose for helping me as well.
Good. So I think that's about it for me. Hopefully that gave you a little rundown. So I think yeah, it'd be good. I mean, as I say, I think the real stars of the show here and on this call are Georgina and Dalibor. And yeah, maybe it'd be good just to if the two of you could just give an overview, just generally of your experience, and then maybe all three of us can kind of, I don't know, Kate, it's probably just you, but take any questions that you might have. But I guess it'd be really nice to hear um your experience and a bit about how you became Supported Lodgings host and your young person you have with you. Would that be all right? Georgina, can I throw to you first? Is that allowed?
Yeah. So, it's allowed, yeah. So, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good.
Good. Um, yeah, so Mike came to my church and did a presentation about Concrete Rose, and it was really good. I did know Mike from before because we'd worked in for the same charity when he was doing youth work. And it was just great to see how far along that he progressed Concrete Rose from just an idea to this actually happening. And I was in a situation where I have a spare room, and I just really like the idea of being able to provide that security and safe space for somebody that I can never quite believe that there are young people out there that really need that, because you just don't, you sort of think, oh, someone else is going to do something about it. And it isn't. There's nobody there doing anything about it that's really as good as this, as far as I'm aware. Do you know? For this is very flexible. So I, it's been a great experience. We've had Luna for a year. It is a year, isn't it, Mike? Yeah. Um,
Yeah, it is a year.
yeah. But it's just been really good. I think that I've benefited in that my home life is a bit strange because I look after my son, um, who's got some health issues. But to be honest, having Luna here has really kind of shifted the balance to, for me, it feels much more healthy because there's other stuff going on. There's that different dynamic. You've got another voice in the house. It's really nice, and we've done lots of good stuff together. I like cooking. Um, just yeah, we've sort of watched stuff together. We've been to Comic-Con together.
Brilliant.
I'm often brought outside my comfort zone in the best possible way. But yeah, no, it's good and really nice. I mean, a lovely thing. I think I'd mentioned this recently to Mike, but um, both me and my son Thomas had COVID a little while ago, and we were really knocked down. And it was lovely that Luna just was really lovely. She did all the cooking. She was like, we weren't really particularly hungry, but it was it was just lovely to have somebody there that I think gave her the opportunity to really show some care, which was great, and we were so appreciative. Um, and that meant she was walking the dog, which was great. But yeah, it was just that I'd not sort of had that in many years. That just sort of also having that experience of being cared for, which was unexpected from my you know. But yeah, it's good. Luna's got another year because she's got a place at university, but she's taking a year out. Um, and she's going to be hopefully getting a job and saving up and doing some stuff. But the timing is really good for that. So yeah, that's our story really. Is that okay?
That's great. Brilliant. Thanks, Georgina. Really appreciate it. Yeah, brilliant. Dalibor, do you wanna chip in? Give us your
Yeah, sure. So I guess the question I get asked the most when I speak to people about supported lodgings is why? Why do I do it? And I guess my personal story has got a lot to do with it, in that I came into the country when I was 17 years old, and um, I had so many opportunities to turn the wrong way, but I was um, really blessed to have the right people at the right time, complete strangers that just sort of showed me up and propped me up when I needed it. And I couldn't speak any English, but they just put up with me. And gradually, I went on the straight and narrow. And I had, as a 17-year-old, I was very um, I could get influenced quite easily. And because of as an example, one of the places where they put me, because they didn't know what to do with me, at that time it was a different environment for refugees and asylum seekers, but they put me into NACRO housing, which was a rehabilitation kind of place for people that had been in a prison for a long time. So that was my circle of friends, and I had a great time, but there was a lot of opportunities for things to go wrong. And I I was kind of pushed, and almost like a sort of paternal advice from all these strangers that were in my life, pushing me to go a certain way. And I feel, now that at this stage of my life, I wanted to contribute something back. So that's kind of what driven me mainly. The other thing is I wanted to fulfill that kind of paternal role as a father figure in some way, and uh, what that led me to is to contemplate doing foster care. And being a single male living on my own, after a long time, I kind of given up on the process, trying to get approved. So I ended up being in contact with Concrete Rose, speaking to Mike, and praise God, I didn't get to do foster care because this is so much better. And yeah, so the idea of having so that's kind of why I'm here. And then the idea of a complete stranger coming into your home and sort of you having to get used to them having to get used to you, it was quite daunting. And I, having never done it before, what was on my mind is all these worries and concerns about how things might go. My heart really is for uh, teenagers, young adults, because I think they have a very tough time, particularly at the moment. And I spend a lot of time talking to them. I work mainly with young people in their early 20s as well. So I see what kind of happens in the background, what kind of influences they have in their lives, and what kind of thing happens to them day to day. So there was all these ideas about somebody coming to my home and things just going horribly wrong. But I decided to persevere anyway, and actually, it's been completely the opposite. There's been none of those things that I dreamt up in my head materialized, and it's been a really, really great experience for me. As I got approved, I was quite anxious to get going, but there was nobody available at the time. And I was pushing Mike to get somebody. I think it was about 5 months or
Yeah.
something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was early days, wasn't it? Like it's be different story now. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I met two, three young people, which for whatever reason it wasn't a great match. Nothing bad. It was just like their circumstances wouldn't allow easily for them to move to Huntingdon or something like that. But then Matthew came along, and Matthew moved in on 19th of March 23, and he celebrated his 18th birthday on 24th of March 23. So it was just absolutely fantastic time. We had a house full of people, and uh, one of the things that happened, just like I had these ideas of what might happen when they move in, all these not very nice things, I also had these ambitions and goals that I set. Okay, I'm going to help him through his GCSEs. I'm going to support him with this. I'm going to do this. I'm an engineer, so I organized my ducks in a row. Um, and everything was really great. Matthew is a brilliant person. Uh, but I struggled a little bit with my own goals and ambitions because I realized there's a dependency on him wanting to do those things. So there was a bit of a calibration going on between sort of my expectations and what was actually the real life, real world. But we got through that, and actually, it's been a really positive experience. We learned to cook. We learned how to do life, relationships, communications, loads of really, really good things. And Matthew was with me for just over 2 years. So he's moved out in May this year into his own apartment in Cambridge. So he's at the moment, actually I speak to him very regularly. Actually, we're still in touch. So I spoke to him on my way from work this evening. And we're still dealing with life and general kind of stuff that happens, and trying to find ways to support him. And since he's moved out, actually, my role in his life has kind of changed as well. So it's more of a checking point. So he calls me up to ask me stuff. When he's concerned about something, he just wants some reassurance that he's doing the right thing, etc., etc. So that kind of idea that I had in my head, I wanted to do. I had this desire for this paternal role in somebody's life, and I know he's not my child, and I have no parental responsibility to Matthew. I felt really kind of sat really nicely with me as well, and for him as it just worked, or works. So yeah, the relationship is still going strong. Since Matthew moved out, I also had one young lad was here for a couple of weeks, and yeah, he's in his own place in Somme, continuing his studies. Yeah, so overall, very positive experience for me, and I'll be sure to continue it.
That's great. Thanks, Dad. I was want to share just one lovely story. When Matthew moved into his own flat, your mum and sister, they went in before he got there and filled the drawers, didn't they, with stuff for
They
him.
did.
So when he moved in, he had his, which I thought, and then I think I moved him in, and then we got in there and saw these things in the drawers, and that really touched him. I think that was a lovely kind
Yeah,
of lovely
yeah,
touch.
that was great. And sorry, just one final anecdote. So Matthew is learning uh, practical thing about Matthew living here. Okay, so We get remuneration for his accommodation, but also Matthew was paying me £30 per week towards his food. Now, I can assure you that we spend more than £30 a week on his food. But what the challenge for Matthew right now, and this kind of illustrates the ongoing issues that young people deal with, like particularly leaving social care, is that now he has to get used to living on £300 a month. And that has to pay his bills and everything else. So living on a shoestring. And I took a box of food to him 2 days ago, and I've never seen a bigger smile in my life. He was so glad to see me. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's
because
great.
it's a real challenge for them. Yeah, to get used to a life like that.
Mm.
Mm.
Oh, thanks, Dalibor. Thanks for sharing. That's great. Um, conscious that Kate, it's just you here. So sorry about that. But I mean, do you have any questions you want to throw at me or
I'm glad I
host?
dialed in. I have to apologise to my mum. I normally call her.
Oh, well, please thank your
People
mum.
keep putting other meetings on a Tuesday, so usually I sort of say, "Oh, I've just got to go and do another meeting now at 8 o'clock," but this was unusual at 7, so I thought, "No, I'll do this first and then I'll call her."
Oh no,
Um,
thank you.
uh, I had a this is actually not quite a question to the host, so you could also answer it. But when you said about like the you said something like a clinical supervision in your
Yeah.
support, and I'm just like I think I know what that. I don't really know what that means. What does that mean? That's different from the weekly check, like a weekly check-in. I can sort of understand that might be a phone call and like, how's it going? Any issues? Are you worried about anything or whatever? But what does a clinical supervision mean? Is it like some kind of psychotherapy or what?
Well, actually, we have had two options. So I'd say one of those options was a bit more clinical.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so we've had two options for us. One of those options I think was a bit more clinical. That was a lady called Sarah Rose, who's the kind of systems therapist. I'd say the other option that we have is I'd call it more pastoral supervision. And it's by a
Okay.
couple called Dave and Claire, who have a long history of working in residential care with young people.
Uh-huh.
And also, I knew them because they support, not that I'm a pastor, but I know they support some pastors in the local area. Um, and they're part of something called Standing Stone Ministry, which is like a Christian ministry for pastors. And
Okay.
I'd got to know them well, and they'd also got a lot of background in working with kind of children in residential care, and I've
Mm.
always found them very helpful as a pair to talk to. So I asked them to come on board pretty early, and I think both Georgina and Dalibor, you meet with or met with Dave and Clay, is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to just give a little what
Yeah,
that
thanks.
looked like?
That would just be helpful to. Yeah. What do
Well,
you do? What do you?
yeah, I mean, with me, they are just people that are checking on me and making sure that everything's going well for me in that situation. Because when Mike meets with us, um, that is, he's looking after the young person and checking out everything's fine in that situation. And there's just this kind of obviously checking that I'm okay as well. But with Dave and Claire, it really is their focus is you. And
Yeah, so
so
like your emotions or your
absolutely, yeah. So you can talk about anything,
yeah.
you can gripe about anything, you can get advice about anything.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
just there to really listen
Mhm.
Mm.
and enable you to kind of, work stuff out that
Yeah,
maybe you've not quite got your head round if there's a bit of a niggle or, you
yeah.
know, but it's very, very positive and it's just very caring. They're both great at giving hugs. That's a really good thing.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
helpful. Yeah.
Is
Shall I
that
go as well?
yeah, is that similar to your
Yes.
experience, Dalibor?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So they're quite proactive, so they'll reach out fairly often and really good sorry, Kate, I don't know whether you're Christian or not, but
Yeah.
we have a prayer time together,
Yeah.
um, which I really value, and I know that they pray for me too,
Yeah.
regularly. Uh, and they're great company and very empathetic to what's going on. And also they seem to be able to sense things that I don't say, but it's going on and they pick up on it, which is great. Yeah, so I really value their
Oh, okay.
time.
Yeah.
It's not over the top. So like we don't meet every week. We meet maybe once every 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. They'll come for a coffee or something, but generally it's quite informal prayer time,
Yeah.
and we just talk about
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
That's really helpful. That's good to hear. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. Ah.
Yeah.
Um, I it was interesting to hear, Georgina, you're looking after your son as well. Um,
Mm.
and I saw in the videos that some other people have children in their home when they act as supported lodging. So I was kind of interested in that aspect because um, we have a daughter, and yeah, so I was just sort of wondering kind of how that what there is to say about that that works or um
Yeah, I think yeah, our host
because I
all
imagine lots of people who have a spare room, they might have had like children who've grown up and moved out, as it were. So that could be a quite a typical sort of experience. As actually I mentioned to Mike, we don't yet have a spare room, but we're thinking of ways in which we might gain a spare room. But while we're thinking about that, I was just also thinking like practically around, yeah, I suppose how yeah, like the impact on them, or I suppose like, are is there like an extra sort of safeguarding issue, or I don't know, but yeah,
Yeah, definitely there is. And I think, every host is different, and we have hosts that have grown-up children and hosts that have young children at home. And what I'd say is it definitely plays a big factor when it comes to pairing. We've got to
yeah,
get the right young person, and we also want depending on the age of those young people that are in the home, we want to kind of take them on the journey as well a little bit. So we'd
yeah,
always ask, obviously, hosts will generally have kind of talked to them about it before they start, but we'll also want to sit down and have a chat with them and see what they think, and are they on board with it, and do they have any concerns, and so they feel a bit of kind of sense of
yeah,
being part. Yeah, it's not kind of imposed on them, that they
mm,
feel so that's really important. And then absolutely it always comes up when we get to panel and host approvals. So panel is made up of a social worker and James Bennett, who's a safeguarding lead at Romsey Mill, and an experienced foster carer, and they're very proactive and engaged, and help us also think through the pairing process, and they often will institute certain things that
yeah,
recommendations around pairing to make sure it's safe. So I think
yeah,
with Georgina, who you saw in the video, I think they had a young girl at home, so we were looking at female only placements
yeah,
for her. um and the lower, we do it's definitely, we put, we only really work with low to medium risk young people anyway, but we definitely put lower risk young people where there's children in the home. So I think it's things like that that come into the
yeah,
process.
okay,
It's both trying to get them on board, but really taking it into account when it comes to
yeah,
pairing as well. So
okay, yeah. But it sounds like it's possible, and it's there's a range of different sorts of households that are.
definitely, yeah. And I think it can work. I mean, yeah, we could at some point, at some point you could talk to like Georgina, who you saw in the video, or Dawn, she had when she had Olivia. So you saw in the photo, she had a pink shirt on, and she had Olivia with
Yeah,
her. She had, well, her oldest had moved out, but she still had a 17-year-old at home, and then she's got one adopted daughter who's 10, and then a younger daughter as well. So she had quite a plus, and then put Olivia into that. So that was one of those houses where you go in and there's always kind of something happening. Now they were baking gingerbread or pizza or
yeah,
something. It's just like busy. But I think
Yeah.
that really worked.
yeah.
Olivia really enjoyed that environment. So, yeah, it's a real mix.
Hmm, that's useful.
Mm.
Yeah. And did you find to the hosts, did you find that you kind of just like hit it off at the beginning, or can you kind of look back and think, oh yeah, it was awkward for a while, or do you know what I mean?
I think for us, I think we all hit it off. I mean,
Yeah,
it was, yeah, I mean, yeah, it was just really, it worked.
yeah.
So yeah, it was a
I guess it's part of the matching thing, isn't it?
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's quite gradual. It wasn't like they just turn up and that's it, they're there. There's like coming around and meeting you, and then there's Mike will bring round and they'll have dinner with you without Mike there, or so
okay. You
it's a
kind of
kind
like you
of
test each other out a little bit.
exactly, and
Yeah,
that during those stages, both parties can go, no, I don't really think so, or there's not, you're not tied in. It's very
yeah,
much like it's got to work, we want to make it work. So yeah, no, it was good. It was good. I felt very much there was no pressure or anything like that. I will say this, and I said it on the last time as well, but I will never forget when Mike came round and Loon had been here not very long, and we were watching a show together, and Mike was ringing the doorbell, and we couldn't hear because we were laughing so hard
I
at
couldn't
this television, at Bones or something we were watching, and we were making comments and laughing, and it was just that real, your face aches, do you know what I mean? And Mike phones
I
up and
couldn't get
"I'm
in.
outside."
I've been there about 15 minutes. I mean,
But it was like that sort of says it to me, really, that it was just really nice. It was,
yeah.
yeah, it just worked. So
Do you think you want to do it again, Georgina, when Luna moves out?
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
It's not
yeah.
that you've become attached to Luna and you think, oh dear, I wouldn't know.
No, I've always had a lodger, so
Uh-huh.
it's not something that I've just done now, through
Yeah.
Concrete Rose. But the reason why I think this worked so well for me was that generally the people that I had renting my spare room did have some extra needs.
Yeah.
So I had one girl for 5 years who'd got a lot of OCD issues
Yeah.
and things like that. And it just really kind of worked well for me to be able to offer that little bit of extra
Yeah.
support.
Yeah.
And then that was, when Concrete Rose came along, it's like, gosh, this is actually feels a bit like what I've been doing, but with
Yeah.
proper support
Yeah.
and proper training. And
Yeah.
so it was, it's been good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
From my side, I think so. Meeting Matthew first few times, we went for dinners and he came here. We cooked together, all of that. He kind of felt fine. We were having a good time, but he also felt a bit tense at times, just because we were trying to get to know each other. Um, was it awkward when he moved in? No, it wasn't awkward, but he wasn't business as usual. It took a little while just to get
Mm.
everything kind of. I sensed that he wasn't himself and I wasn't myself. I was trying to accommodate him. He was trying to accommodate me.
Yeah.
And he was all really nice and so, civilized and polite and all of that. But 2, 3 months in, he all kind of he changed shape how things were, and uh, you got into a routine and all that kind of stuff. But when he first moved in, it wasn't like a negative experience. It was good, but it wasn't like a normal day. We were just trying to get used to each other,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And yeah, and we spent a lot of time in those early days. We spent a lot of time talking to each other, learning about our past,
Mm.
etc., etc. And over time, particularly with Matthew's background, he took a while for him to loosen up and open up and speak about what actually happened to him and all these different things. And same here. Yeah. But once we got over those initial hurdles, it was great. Really, really great relationship.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for sharing.
Great. Well, thanks so much. Yeah, conscious on time. Want to honour your time, Kate. You got to go and call your mum, and so thank you for giving up your time. It's massively appreciated. So
Yeah, thank you. It's really good to hear your stories.
yeah, thanks so much. So yeah, no, thanks for being here, and yeah, have a great rest of the evening, and of course, yeah.
Right, thanks, guys. Thanks for putting
Right.
on.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Look forward to meeting you at the next Concrete Rose barbecue, Kate,
Definitely.
with your
Thanks
new
very
lodger.
much.
Okay.
Cheers.
All
Bye-bye.
right.
Brilliant.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Cheerio. Bye.